Hello, and welcome to another episode of What's on the Pile. I'm Nathan Besner, and joining me is Shane Lee,
California.
Jane Pelcastro,
Hi.
and Jenner.
Hello there.
We continue with the holiday spirit by watching one more Christmas-themed movie and another movie that is tangentially related to it through branding. First up, we've got The Wizard, the 1989 Nintendo commercial starring Fred Savage and Shane's crush, Jenny Lewis, where a traumatized Jimmy tries to make his way to California to heal wounds, and along the way, various road movie hijinks ensue as Jimmy proves he is a wizard at video games, specifically Nintendo games. Following that is 8-Bit Christmas, the story of a young Jake Doyle as he tries to navigate treacherous terrain in his fight to secure a Nintendo as a Christmas gift, as told by the always wonderful Neil Patrick Harris. But first, The Wizard. This was not on my pile. In fact, I've seen this movie about a dozen times because I'm a Nintendo fanboy and Fred Savage was an important actor to 80s kids. So,
Yes.
who did have this on their pile, so to speak?
I had been studiously avoiding this for an extremely long time. I was aware of it when it was originally released, so technically I had not seen it, but it was not actually on my pile. I had felt that I would have been fine never watching it. It was okay.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I was ready to apologize for forcing you to watch
I
this.
Yeah.
I did get the distinct feeling, and reading up in the background on this, my feeling was confirmed that there was a lot of this movie that we weren't seeing. Specifically, something like 50 minutes of material was deleted from the original cut of the movie, which was apparently two and a half hours long. At one point, apparently, Todd Holland, the director, asked the studio if he could tweak the script so it was a more manageable length, and they said, no, shoot the entire thing. And I believe that story. This was a movie that I think my observation when we were watching it was this movie either has half the plot it needs or twice the plot it needs. On due consideration, and about 24 hours later, I'm thinking, yeah, this movie bought its plot in bulk.
Well, Shane, you had some information about the alternate cut, right?
Oh, I
You
mean, it
wanted
was
to talk about?
similar to what Jenner was saying. I mean, for instance, there's the whole subplot about Christian Slater's character's alcoholism, which is vaguely hinted at.
It's like one line in the final version.
Yeah, I don't like your
Two.
drinking.
And apparently, it goes a lot more into Jimmy and what's Fred Savage's name? Corey? Is his name Corey?
Yeah.
Their home life, which maybe explains what exactly is wrong with Jimmy. Is he autistic? Is he traumatized by his sister's death? Which I forgot there was a dead sister in this movie.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this is only my third time watching it, which I go to in a little bit later. But
One of the
Jenner.
things that did strike me about the movie was the way that we are left to intuit the actual relations between all of these people for most of the movie's running time.
Yes.
And indeed, incidentally, what Jimmy's deal was. Because
I mean, I straight up thought he was autistic. I mean, he's
That's what
just
I've
like
always
my
assumed.
son. I mean, he's identical to my son. The whole wandering and well, he doesn't wander that much anymore, but wandering and obsessed with video games and really good at them. And
the building.
the
almost
80,
nonverbal.
the 80s in particular did have a tendency to write special needs children with a very broad brush. But yeah, no, I spent most of the movie thinking that he was autistic, and it was only when they finally, like at the turn of Act 3, brought back in that his twin sister had died.
They hint at it earlier. They mentioned Jennifer several times.
Which I spent quite a lot of time thinking that was actually the mom's name, but the mom's name was Christine.
Yeah.
And
I
I get the
got
feeling
that
I
it
get
was
the feeling
Jennifer. I said to you, I said, "Oh, it must be his twin sister, and she's dead." And I think you ignored me.
Well, I figured that was well. No, I figured that was just because you had seen the movie before.
Well, I did not. The only thing I remember was that kid going California, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this."
Because
I think
Jane
I
is
walked around saying that California for like a year afterward because I'm that kind of
because
idiot. But
Jane,
anyway.
Jane has seen all movies and remembers few of them. As
Well,
we've said
I
before.
just looked at the cover of it and was like, "Oh, yep, I've seen it." But then I actually remembered the whole California bit, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to say that all the time because I thought it was funny."
And I swear I have to be having a bit of Mandela effect with this movie, because I would have sworn it was from one of the also ran studios of the era, like Vestron or something like that. I didn't realize it was a Universal picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was a Universal commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
They placed products like you wouldn't believe.
no,
in this
Perfect.
movie. It was
Perfect for an 80s kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
They
pimped,
did just
they
fine.
pimped that Hostess. Like I say, lots of Nintendo. Making
Vision Streetwear, I think, is probably a skateboarding line of clothing, and the Vision skateboard that Fred Savage was toting around. I'm assuming that's a skateboarding brand. I don't know.
I would tend to assume so. It doesn't seem like that they wouldn't go full hog and just getting every placement that they could in this one. To say nothing of the then relatively new Universal Studios. Well, I suppose if it's the Los Angeles, it was the old one. It was the Florida one that came a bit later.
I just
He also,
No, go ahead, Shane.
I was just gonna say he never once used that skateboard. By the way, he just lugged it around across the.
They used it one time.
Reason. Oh, did they? Shoot,
yeah, because a truck beeped at them as they were going
pushing.
down.
They were the little.
Jimmy was sitting on it.
Jimmy was sitting
Fred
on
Savage
it.
was steering.
But you only saw him from the back, so I don't think it was really Fred Savage.
Yeah, probably not. One thing I really liked about the Universal Studios commercial segment was when they show Kong, the Kong ride.
The Kong bit was nifty.
But they used one shot that was in every Universal Studios promo, because I remember at the time Nickelodeon was having a contest to get kids to go to Universal Studios, because that's where Nickelodeon Studios was, and they always had that same shot of Kong where it was kind of panning across his face as he was roaring and coming toward the camera. That shot is burned into my memory because of commercialism and wanting products.
I mean, there's this is a movie that I ended up kind of liking in some regards. I think almost in spite of itself. I mean, yes, it is an absolute feast of product placement, but the product placements are very dubious in spots. Like the entire workings of the Universal Studios tour seem appallingly, not OSHA okay.
Yeah, dangerous. When those kids are crawling under Kong, whew! We were both like
those pyrotechnic effects
children.
are very 80s in a way that probably would not pass muster at this point.
Though that guy who was running the tram, he was pretty fun. Everybody just sit down, have fun, damn it.
that was a nice moment. So
yeah.
It was a bit player making an impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Nintendo signed off on this, because they reviewed the script and approved everything. And like I said, there's a lot of dark stuff going on.
Well, as I observed yesterday evening, Nintendo likes their product placement tortured. The Japanese like deep melodrama, no matter what the context is. At the risk of, again, painting with a very broad brush there, but I have a feeling that the Nintendo guys is like, no, it's human drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Human drama around Nintendo. I don't know. Like I say, it's a weirdly schizotypal picture, but ultimately, the actual human story does make it across. Again, as I say, kind of almost in spite of itself. Although, good Lord, the dude who was hired to find Jimmy,
Putnam,
the child bounty hunter,
child bounty hunter. File this under the strange 1980s tendency, probably best epitomized by Ghostbusters, but more broadly epitomized by the memorable aspects of William Atherton's film career in general, because he had some further play in that as the crusading investigative journalist from the first two Die Hard movies, of a fundamentally not ignoble profession. Like, think, good Lord, an EPA agent in Ghostbusters. A fundamentally not ignoble profession that is villainized just to have a villain. And realistically, the same thing kind of happened, albeit with a very different cast of the character in Raising Arizona. But something about child bounty hunters was on the zeitgeist in the latter half of the 80s, I guess.
He reminded me of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the child napper guy in that. Did nobody see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Oh, I loved
No.
it.
It's
I
been
loved it.
it's
Oh,
been
wait, no,
forever.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
yeah.
forever since I've seen it.
But he
Jenner
wasn't
bought
even
it
a
for
child
me.
napper. He was doing good. He just wanted to do it for money.
Yeah.
He wanted to do it before the actual family, beat him to the job.
If he hadn't knifed those tires, he would have been
Yeah.
an okay guy.
If he hadn't
Well-
worn bolo ties in every single scene, he would have been an okay guy.
I like that he was a little nerdy. That you don't get that out of your villains very often. But let's
I mean, like I say, he actually makes an impression as a villain. It's just a very strange choice for a villain in the first place.
well, it's
yeah,
an authority figure that is trying to stop them from accomplishing their goals. It's as far as kids go, I think it fits pretty well.
I'm thinking, as far as convolution, it might be a bridge too far. I feel like he could have been deleted completely from the movie and it wouldn't have suffered particularly.
No, I might agree with that.
Yeah.
There would be less drama, less action, and less for less for Christian Slater and Beau Bridges to do.
Yeah, but mostly he's a walking plot device as much as anything else. Again, not a bad performance. He makes a good performance as an absolute butt.
Definitely less creepy than the MC for the actual video game tournament.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how Nintendo rolls it with its MCs anyway. You remember that? You remember when Reggie Fils-Aime came out at E3 a few years back, looked like he wanted to find somebody to choke. They kept him backstage for the several years following, but still, it's they had a tendency to play over the top.
I don't know. I love Reggie.
Oh,
He's made so many good decisions.
Speaking of over the top, this movie apparently has an unintended crossover with Over the Top. There's a scene where Hawks Hauling is seen on a truck because they used the same truck from Over the Top and just didn't take the label off the door.
And it was actually subsequently used in 1988's Messenger of Death and Tank Girl, believe it or not.
Oh, Tank Girl. I like Tank Girl.
They gave it a silver repaint. Yeah, no, this is interesting Wikipedia facts. So yeah, the 1965 A64B Autocar Severe Duty Cab Over Engine Vocational Truck, which is quite a mouthful, and I don't understand half of it because, as I find myself saying at work a lot of the time, I can tell you how many local dimming zones all of the televisions have, but I cannot recognize a vehicle, make, or model unless I have owned one personally.
Whereas Nate's son recognizes the car just through the window, like as
By-
I was pulling up.
To the year.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
crazy.
Oh, he loves this movie, by the way. He gets so excited when Jimmy wins the video game tournament.
That's the thing, is the video game tournament actually did have a ton of really effective suspense, pretty much from beginning to end, including the memorable Lee Ehrenberg, who I believe was Nathan Lane's brother or sidekick in Mouse Hunt, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, wow.
As the guy who ushered them in the first place. Vamonos! Or whatever the heck it was he said. But yeah, again, a bit player making a very distinct impression with about 30 seconds of screen time.
Well,
And also, unless you were the exact age and demographic that Nate and I were when this movie came out, it's impossible to express just how exciting a Super Mario Brothers 3 reveal
That's
really was.
that's exactly
Yeah.
what I was about to
I
say.
believe that.
It was so important. It was the
I
most
can I,
important thing on the schoolyard.
I can absolutely believe that. I was even then, console adjacent rather than console people myself. I like the suggestion that one of the flacks at Universal Studio had basically wanted to approach this as a Tommy for youngsters.
Hmm.
Does not really have any parallel equivalent to that Moog synthesized belch that Oliver Reed chucked out halfway through that picture, but even so, it managed to maintain my attention. I think it's one of those things where even if you can see the not exactly compromises, because strictly speaking, the compromise is actually having a human narrative in the movie. The function of the movie was as a commercial. The fact that it registers as a worthwhile drama, as a father and son road picture between Bo Bridges and Christian Slater right before Heathers, right after Tucker the Man in His Dream and The Name of the Rose, and that poor tree.
Yes, I know. I wouldn't stop obsessing about that poor tree in the back of the truck. I'm like, nobody has watered its root ball. It's gonna die. And I think we were speculating that the craft services may have shoved it into a landfill sometime, and maybe it grew. Maybe it didn't.
Our headcanon at this point is that after the movie was completed, and by the end of the movie, it does not have a single leaf left on it. That craft services chucked it into a landfill, at which point it took root in some toxic waste, turned into a Hulk tree, and soon enough the locals started wondering why all of the birds were so big and aggressive.
Oh, became a curse-rotted greatwood.
Nice.
I hate that boss.
I do too. I was just fighting that boss today on a sorcery build. Yeah, I'm trying a new sorcery build. We're talking Dark Souls stuff now.
I was about to say, this is absolutely the sort of thing where you can make side video game references that I don't particularly get. I don't mind. This is a lot more y'all's wheelhouse than my own.
Well, were there any video games you recognized?
No, I actually recognized most of them, like the Super Mario Brothers and Ninja Gaiden. I recognized a goodly chunk of them.
Did you have a Nintendo, sweetie?
No, I did not. Bob had a Super Nintendo, but that was later, of course.
Yeah, we had a Super Nintendo. I bought a used car, and it came free with it.
And even then, like I say, I was never good at Twitch gaming. I was never a platformer. I was always playing the RPGs, like the Breath of Fire series or the 3 Final Fantasies that got released for the SNES, or I guess it was 2 Final Fantasies that got released.
Yeah,
for the SNES.
The first one's on NES.
Yeah, but I was mostly playing RPGs, or more often, and Nate has certainly observed this phenomenon before, sitting and watching for an inordinate amount of time while somebody who's actually good at console gaming plays, occasionally providing side commentary or making an odd suggestion that may or may not be pertinent.
I remember you sitting in my chair while I played. Oh God, was it Elder
Ratchet
Scrolls?
and Clank?
Oh, Ratchet and Clank. I thought it was Elder Scrolls 4.
Well, I saw you play a bit of Elder Scrolls 4, mostly because you kept running, mostly one particular long bout where you kept going around and thwacking on the guards.
Oh yeah.
But Elder Scrolls 4, I don't consider a console game, no matter how many consoles it actually appeared on.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls games are PC games that get ported. Full stop. No qualifiers. End of story. But
hey, Skyrim on the Switch is fantastic, by the way. Having that portable.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Fine.
I wonder if Trey would like it. I don't know.
Probably
not.
Can I mod Morrowind into it?
No.
No, unfortunately not.
Well, I guess it's not fucking Skyrim then, is it? Anyway.
There was always a big brouhaha about the Double Dragon score in the film. When Fred Savage says 50,000? You got 50,000 on Double Dragon? That would be amazing if he got 50,000 points on Double Dragon in the 3 minutes he was playing it.
Yeah, and then not playing long.
Yeah, then when they actually showed the gameplay of it, there's like nothing special. He's
just
kind of puttering around, just kind of throwing some kicks and some punches.
There were a lot of cutaways to the games like that.
Yeah. He seems to be doing a pretty good job. He's doing better than I would do.
And I love Beau Bridges' video game acting, pretending like he's playing.
Oh.
the button mashing and
Yeah.
I made it to level. I've never fucking made it to level 3 of that game. There's no way he did it.
Yeah, like I find it interesting. Or Bob actually observed because he was watching this with us that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles platformer was basically designed to be completely unwinnable, which ends up as sort of an in joke. Like I say, I have a distinct feeling that the makers of 8-Bit Christmas probably saw this, not least for sort of the counter shot to the awesomeness that is the Power Glove.
Yeah,
Which
I know.
I've never used. I've never used the Power Glove. I don't even know how it's supposed to work.
I had the joy of using a Power Glove and discovering how awful it truly was firsthand. It was such a piece of trash. It did not work. It had these sensors, these motion sensors that you would set up around the TV. So you'd have like 3 of them and they would just kind of stick on. And
really? I didn't even know it had.
Huh.
had
Oh,
that.
so it's like the PlayStation Move.
yeah, except it's like IR sensors.
So now that
Oh.
Nintendo has clearly figured out motion sensors and they sort of cornered the market on it, how have they not reissued a working Power Glove? They totally should.
At this
you know,
point,
actually, with VR and everything, I don't see why they couldn't do it. They could actually fulfill the promise of what the Power Glove was meant to be.
And if you turn in one of the ancient Power Gloves, they'll give you one for free or something.
I don't know
That would
about-
be great. That would be a promotion.
What's going to happen is if you turn in one of the ancient Power Gloves, they're going to give you a framed letter of apology and give you your fucking Power Glove back. Like, thank you.
Well, that's good too.
It's like, yeah, but no. I mean, at this point, I mean, imagine if you will, at some further like gaming reveal thing, like next E3 or something to that extent, something where they actually have an audience. Just screen goes black and they run the Switch logo across the top of the screen. Just coming in 2023. This time it works. Power Glove.
Well, the thing
The
that
house would go insane.
And I would buy
thing that
one
kind
again.
of threw me on the Wizard was when Jimmy saw the Power Glove and ran out the door.
I think he was running from Lucas. I don't think he was
Yeah,
running from the
well, no,
Power
he was
Glove.
running from the fact that his half brother was pretending to be in love with the girl, and
Yeah,
that leads.
That's
like I say,
right.
That's what Jenny Lewis had said.
They
That's
they
what it
was.
they backpedaled a little bit effectively, but again, it's one of those things where you have to pay fairly close attention to the dialogue to kind of get that was what was going on, because again, some of the relations feel abbreviated in this movie. This feels like like I say, this feels like it should have been half or should have been half the movie that it was, but had half of another movie in it, or just been split into 2 movies. One that was about Beau Bridges and Christian Slater, and one that was about Fred Savage, Jimmy, and Jenny Lewis. So talk about Jenny Lewis, Shane.
Jenny Lewis. Well, so I saw this. Well,
Nice.
so
Do you like that segue? I like
yeah,
that segue.
thank you for that. I mean, I've only seen this movie 3 times, by the way. I saw it when I was a kid in the theater because I had to. My parents brought it with me, or brought me to it, and then my parents didn't believe in owning like pre-recorded VHS movies, so and it was never on TV.
Well,
from
they
what I
weren't
remember.
affordable at the time. Credit where credit is
That's
due.
probably true too. But I think maybe
golden age of sell-through didn't start until about 93, somewhere thereabouts.
So probably because of the Nintendo licensing, it was never on TV, unless I'm mistaken. Because I taped a lot of movies off of TV, so that movie just vanished from my life for like 20 years. But anyways, when I first saw the movie, had a crush on Jenny Lewis. I mean, we were like the same age, and then as an adult, I found out she was the lead singer of this band Rilo Kiley, and they are like one of my top 5 bands of all time. I think I've seen them live maybe 6 times. They've since broken up, which is a shame because I think she's put out 4 or 5 solo albums since. They're good. They're not as good as Rilo Kiley.
Also a sort of post-punk supergroup called Nice as Fuck, or NAF.
Yeah.
We watched some of that last
Yeah, there's
night
Nice
on
as Fuck.
YouTube.
She was in a band called Jenny and Johnny with her then boyfriend Jonathan Rice, which I never got into. But yeah, I've just been just basically in love with Jenny Lewis most of my life. She's like the ultimate indie rock girl, and I genuinely love her band. I wish they were still around. And another member of Rilo Kiley is another child actor, Blake Sennett, who, other than the show, do you guys remember Salute Your Shorts?
Yes.
He was in that. I don't remember as who, but he was in that. I don't know if that's why they were in the band together. I think that's just incidental.
That was Camp Anawana, right?
I believe so. It had the
Camp
kid.
Anawana,
It had John Connor's friend from Terminator 2. The
Yeah.
long-haired kid.
Danny Cooksey. The misfortunate addition to late seasons of Different Strokes.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, he was great on Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
And I think Blake Sennett was a minor character. But anyways, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about Jenny Lewis. I'm just a huge fan of hers and didn't realize until I think I found out that she was in Rilo Kiley. Or I think I found out who she was after I was into Rilo Kiley. I'm like, oh wait, that's the girl from The Wizard. That's a girl I've been pining for since I was 10 years old. Well, and now she's still cool.
Well, it was fated then, wasn't it?
And I guess they were on not Jimmy Kimmel. What's his name?
They were on Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, she was on Jimmy Fallon just last week with an odd new song, "Puppy in a Truck."
I liked it.
It's kind
it
of
was
charming.
heartwarming and cute.
She's leaned a lot in her solo career more into the country western stuff. Like Rilo Kiley was a little bit rockier, but anyways. So yeah, it was cool revisiting this movie, and she still looks the same kind of as when she was a child. She really hasn't changed too much.
You could definitely see the through line.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a little digression.
Well, no. Like I say, it was fated that you were going to come back around on that. It was like, I don't know, my early discovery and subsequent rediscovery is like, oh, that was that thing I could never forget for Robert Aikman's story, Ringing the Changes. Similar phenomenon, very different context, but still. I'll tell that story some other time.
There was another that guy in this movie, Frank McRae.
Yes,
great character
one of the greats. Spanky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Driver of Hawk's truck.
Yeah.
Arguably better used in this picture because it's not over the top.
And he was in Last Action Hero as well.
Yeah.
The guy constantly yelling at Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was the chief, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, what was he saying? I have no idea.
I love that movie.
I do too, unabashedly.
Yeah.
I have problems with the ending, but aside from that,
that's okay.
Oh, I mean, there's problems everywhere. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, Ian McKellen as Death, stepping out of the seventh seal. Or is it the seventh seal that he steps out of?
I think so. I think that's what they were intending it to be.
Yeah. Anyways.
I hadn't realized that was Ian McKellen. I may actually have to go back and watch that fucking thing again.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix right now.
I'll watch it with you.
Okay.
Have you not seen it, Jane?
Fine. I've seen it.
Okay, never mind.
I've seen it a few times.
Okay, you want to know how Last Action Hero should have ended? Bob got this instantly at the end of the movie, and I instantly knew he was correct. What should have happened was, instead of putting the reels for Jack Slater 4 back on, and Jack Slater going back into it and getting the whole, oh, this is barely a flesh wound, they should have put the reels for Jack Slater 3 back on so he could go back and actually save his fucking son.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember you telling me that one. I agree completely. That would be the better ending. I guarantee it didn't even occur to them.
Had to get that off my chest there. Anyway. I know. I mean, it's interesting that The Wizard came from somebody who directed a majority of the episodes of the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh, wow.
Todd Holland is, I know he did a couple of episodes of Kimmy Schmidt. He did something like 26 episodes of Malcolm in the Middle. The fellow is a TV comedy institution, just kind of low key, and one of the ones that doesn't get ballyhooed very much. But I find it interesting that this was, I believe, his first feature effort after having had a short film that I now want to find up because A, it caused Steven Spielberg to give him a job on Amazing Stories, and B, it is called The Chicken Thing.
Oh,
I now want to see that.
Apparently, Tobey Maguire's in this movie too, uncredited.
Did not spot him.
I spot him every time just because I know what to look for, but he was one of Lucas's goons. Oh,
I wondered.
I want to talk about Lucas for a second. What a little snitch.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Just an awful character.
Yeah.
With one of the best lines in the movie. The power glove. It's so bad.
Unintentional truth bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And that mullet. Kid's hair, I mean, say what you will about the kid, his hair was fucking spectacular.
And he wore
so much aqua in it. And moose. And moose.
He was wearing a trench coat with shorts.
You know, he was just walking around. There was a hole in the ozone directly above him at like 40,000 feet. Anyway.
There's one final character in this film that I want to mention. It's an inanimate character. It's the dinosaur statues from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes, I said that too. It was.
Showing up. I've never visited those things, and I don't even know if they're still around, but I have always wanted to visit them because of this movie and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I find them to be very important landmarks for children of the 80s.
Getting itself a little bit of a low-key reference in the one of the Universal Studios tour guides throwaway about a romantic comedy starring Zsa Zsa Gabor and Pee Wee Herman.
Yes.
little bit of weird foreshadowing there.
That was great. Well, does anybody have any final thoughts they'd like to share before we move on?
I'm not unhappy that I saw it. I would be curious to see a reassembly of the original cut, even though it would have to be way too fucking long. I mean, objectively speaking, it would be one of those things where it's fascinating that somebody restored this, but it's not a party movie.
I mean, apparently a lot of those scenes are on the Blu-ray, which I just ordered. So maybe I'll report back afterwards. I don't know how many. I doubt there's 50 minutes worth, but apparently there's a lot of
definitely a seminal film, particularly if you're a video game buff, and an interesting historical curiosity if you're not. It's worth seeing. I'm not gonna buy it.
I mean,
I don't regret having spent the $4 to rent it on Amazon.
It is surprising.
I do not feel my time was wasted.
It is surprising how much of an actual movie it at least tries to be, and sort of is. You know, the second time I saw it, maybe 10 years ago when the DVD first came out, having not seen it in over 20 years, I didn't expect this much actual plot and character. And coming back to it again this time, I was surprised. I forgot there was a dead sister. I forgot that Jenny Lewis's mother had a gambling problem, which they allude to. There's actually some meat in this movie.
The movie does leave me with one legitimate question that it does not address in the least. Is okay at the end of the movie where everybody is going back to BFE wherever the heck they came from in Utah. Jenny Lewis is in the car. What the hell is she doing next? Is she going back to her trailer? Is her dad even alive? Is the question that I seriously had through most of this movie.
And who got the money?
I assume
how'd they split that up?
I assume they split it with her like they said they were going to, and she got half and bought a $25,000 house.
Okay.
But that was a kind of a nice trailer. I mean, I thought it was pretty nice.
It wasn't bad as go trailers outside of Reno. And on that note...
Yes, all right. We'll go ahead and take our break now. We will be right back. And we're back. Next up, we have 8-Bit Christmas, the story of Jake Doyle trying to get his parents to get him an NES, or Nintendo Entertainment System. He and his friends pine for the console, leading to mischievous hijinks and coming-of-age lessons. This was on my pile because it's brand new. It was on all our piles. Or rather, I think I kind of forced it onto your guys' piles.
No, that's really okay.
Okay.
That's really okay.
Like, no, don't make us watch a charming Christmas movie about video games. No.
I mean, I thought it was a web short. I didn't realize it was a full movie. I don't know, maybe because I associate like Neil Patrick Harris with like Doctor Horrible or something. I didn't realize it was a full-fledged feature film. But I mean, I was glad to watch it.
It was very charming. It was a charming Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, it definitely felt like it was aiming for sort of the A Christmas Story vibe, just set in a time that at least is within our living memory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
not our parents.
Lord knows what the kids thought of it. Not that the kids are pretty much our core demographic on this program, anyway.
The kids liked it. I could say that the kids enjoyed it.
Well, no, I
I'm
didn't
wondering
mean your kids specifically. I just meant the kids in general.
Well, I know of two kids who enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Well, I'm glad.
I'm curious I'm curious as how my dad reacted. I watched this at my brother's with my sister-in-law and my dad, and he was, when we were kids, he was pretty anti-Nintendo, anti-video game. I mean, he eventually gave in, but I'm curious as to what he thought. Like, I don't think he ever realized like just how important it was to us. Like, for him, it was just a toy that he didn't think we should have. But he didn't really say much about it, so who knows what he thought.
It was a revelation. It really was to a lot of us, to a lot of kids. It was a whole new world you could explore in
and
bits and pixels.
And as the little bastard Timmy Keene discovered before the beginning of the flashback narrative of the movie, it was social currency.
Yes, it definitely was.
Yeah, it really was.
I actually remember when I was a kid, when I got my Super Nintendo, my mom got it for me because she was feeling bad because I was new in school and didn't have any friends and everybody hated me. So she got me a Super Nintendo and she said, "Don't tell anybody you have it. They will just want to be friends with you because you have a Super Nintendo."
Oh.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, of course. I learned that lesson.
I mean, in school you would get bullied if you couldn't beat certain levels. Like, if you admitted that you couldn't get to certain points in games, other kids would bully you. And if you had the new game, yeah, people would want to talk to you. And there were so many lies told on the playground about different secrets in games, secret codes, secret areas. So many fucking lies that turned out to not be true. I don't know where these. I mean, I'm sure I told a few of them myself. Like, oh yeah, you can go here and unlock the secret level.
I know a fairly common phenomenon mirrored in that one character, Jeff Farmer, the pathological liar.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Quite.
Yeah. Jess actually mentioned, did everybody have a kid like that in their school?
No.
I answered
Unless
yes.
I was that kid.
Yes, we did.
No.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
definitely.
honestly don't.
I
wait a minute. Yes, I did
think
have a friend who was like that.
At least in Massachusetts, I think his name actually was Jeff. He told me that there was a robot dog with a that was the Terminator's sidekick in the Terminator, which he totally saw.
My Jeff told me that Super Mario Brothers 2 had a special ending if you beat it in a certain amount of time, and it does not. It absolutely does not. And I spent hours trying to get that time.
Oh.
It led to mastering the game, but great. I mastered Super Mario Brothers 2.
Again, this is one of those things where being largely out of console fever probably had both positive and negative effects on my social development at a particularly formative age.
That's funny because, see, okay, once again, I'm a little older than these other guys, but I had a Pong, and, it didn't make me any more popular. And my brother and I had an Atari 2600, and, we adored it. We spent like every moment. We got, Atari joystick hand where it would be like so stiff and sore we couldn't move. And
one of the reasons
that I
didn't. One of the
all
reasons
that. But again, nobody
yeah.
came over to play with us. Nobody seemed to care. It seems like this is like a Nintendo thing alone.
I
or
think
maybe just that time.
That was the point where I think it really crested. But yeah, no, the reason why I was never the biggest on consoles is you see these fingers. I mean, obviously the people listening to the podcast can't see these fingers.
Yeah.
These are pianist/strangler's fingers. Most console controllers are too fucking small for my hands.
What do you call it? You get the claw.
The claw.
The claw. That was my brother. Well, that's exactly what we said about my brother. He had the claw after we played.
Yeah, except
Battle.
I get it within 20 minutes on anything except the original Xbox controller.
The Duke.
The Duke. The Duke was made for my damn hands.
I agree with that. The Duke was amazing. That was an amazing controller.
It was like a big loaf of bread.
It was like a Duke. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Whoops. Oops.
The new PS4 controller actually emulates some of that while managing to be sleek as well. I really like the new PS4 controller.
Wait, PS4 or
PS5, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the PS5 controller is amazing. I made a joke on a forum saying it's the only controller that touches you back. Like the haptic feedback on it is amazing. Like when you're playing, it like does things in your hand, and you're like, "What is?" I feel what's happening on screen in my hand somehow. It's not just vibrating. Yeah. It's like it's touching you.
It has tactile feedback. It's amazing. Like when you pull a trigger on some games that have this feature, it feels like you're pulling an actual trigger. Like you have to force the button down. You can't just tap the button like a regular video game controller.
I may have to give this a whack at some point. I have to allow I'm a little gun shy. And of course, nobody in my immediate vicinity has managed to actually snare a PS5 or one of the new Xboxes, just because we're not in a vicinity that gets the tiny little friggin' shipments that they're actually receiving at this point. They were supposed to have larger production runs ready in time for the holidays. It didn't happen.
Of course it didn't.
Three times a week. 3 times a week, if not 7 times a week at work. Somebody comes in, "You guys got any PS5s?" It's like, no. Oh God, no. No, like the scalpers are killing everybody at this point. The scalpers are taking everybody's fun away.
Yeah, they really are. They're doing some horrible things in the video card market as well.
Exactly. And well, no, that's not even just the scalpers. That's the scalpers who realize that they're playing to 2 separate markets. They're playing to the gamers, and they're playing to the goddamn Bitcoin bros.
Yeah, the miners.
Yep.
The freaking miners. So that, like I say, there's a reason that the video card, the humble GTX 960 in the refurbished workstation I am recording this podcast on, still costs as much in its present used condition as it did when I purchased the thing originally in something like 2016.
So, yeah, 8-Bit Christmas is a fun movie.
So 8-Bit Christmas is, in fact, a fun movie. It's charming. It's quite delightful.
And it has that kid from Nightbooks. Have y'all seen Nightbooks?
Oh, yeah, Nightbooks is great.
Nightbooks is an absolute joy. That's,
it is.
That's another
Kristen
one.
Ritter, I just want to be her. I want to be that pretty and that thin and that cool.
We all
I love
do.
her so much.
Yeah, we all do. Absolutely.
I mean, I have a straight girl crush on her. She's
Mm.
okay.
But the kid's a really solid actor in his own right.
And we didn't recognize him right off, but I was like, we've seen him in something like recently because he isn't that old.
Which kid was it?
The Neil Patrick Harris baby.
The main
kid, our main character.
Jake Doyle.
Jake Doyle. He was
Thank
the one
you.
in Nightbooks. Okay.
Winslow Fegley.
He looks totally different to me.
Well, he was much
grew up a
gothier
little.
in Nightbooks.
That's really cool. That's two decent movies in a row.
He's a talented child. I was really thrilled with him in both
and definitely making the most of those streaming contracts.
Yeah.
I was excited to see as the mother June Diane Raphael, because she's the host of the How Did This Get Made podcast, which I could have sworn they did an episode on the Wizard. I could have sworn, but I went back through the archives.
I was wondering where the hell I had seen her before, because she looked so freaking familiar.
Yeah, no,
she's in Grace and Frankie. She's in Flight of the Conchords for an episode. She was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
So,
Oh, no, thanks,
yeah.
because I couldn't remember where, but it was definitely Grace and Frankie.
But
It's
she's
the one
also a great podcaster. But they should do the Wizard too. I thought they had. I could have sworn they talked about the Child Bounty Hunter for half an hour, but apparently they never did that movie.
Oh.
It's
Anyways.
just the Mandela effect hitting you in a different way than it hits me. Again, now speaking of someone we haven't seen in a while, Steve Zahn. Where the hell has he been?
Oh yeah.
just
Last time I saw him was in
him.
Rescue Dawn.
It was yeah, same here.
That was a long time ago.
I just saw him playing a dad in something else, and I cannot remember what it was. But he played a dad in some other movie that some other coming of age movie. I just cannot remember what the hell it could be.
I know what you mean, though. I do. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I might have seen him in something.
I might try to look that up.
I know. I think the last time that we saw him was actually, granted that let's see. Oh, I think the last time we actually saw him was Knights of Badassdom. At least speaking for myself and Jane.
I remember that.
I feel like it was something else.
Well, he was in Tall Girl, which was
and Tall Girl 2, apparently.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah, we're all looking at our.
We're looking at the
Wikipedia.
IMDb.
This is very important, podcast listeners. We need to know what Steve Zahn was in.
I mean, I thought his character was interesting, where it seems like he's a character with one defining trait, is that he likes power tools. And then as the movie progresses, by the end you sort of realize he's like a really sweet father who's, trying to understand his kid and trying to relate to him in the only way he knows how, and succeeds in the end.
Yeah, no, it's one of those performances that reveals its layers as it goes along. It's actually a really lovely turn for ultimately a really lovely character.
The movie I was thinking of was Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He played.
I have not seen that picture.
Have not seen that.
That was a Declan pick. My son.
Fair enough.
He loves those movies, and so yeah, he plays an incredibly similar character. Like it's almost the same performance. It's that similar, which is interesting to me. That he's kind of he's a little bit of a go-to guy for somebody as a family man. And
that dad.
Yeah, that dad.
That dad.
Which is an interesting turn for the guy who was constantly practicing coming out to his parents in Reality Bites. I mean, and then there's Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, pretended to be so straight, but it's fine. He did a great job. I thought it was. I wanted more of him on the screen because I just love him. He's just cool.
I love how he ended up marrying that. I've forgotten the girl's
the
name.
Boots girl.
The Boots girl. The girl had the same boots as he had.
Yeah.
my brother and my sister-in-law both predicted when he got that package at the end that it was going to be boy boots instead of the light bright.
Oh.
They were like, it's totally going to be boy boots.
It should have been
light bright.
Well, he should have known because the box was bigger than the actual Nintendo box. Oh no, wait, that was the World Book Encyclopedias.
Yeah, that was the World Book
Encyclopedias.
Sorry.
I still have a set at my parents' house.
I'm going to throw out there that I really liked that he didn't actually get it for Christmas. I thought that was actually fairly satisfying.
I thought that was bullshit.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I kind of have to go with that as well. At the same time, they made it work.
Yeah.
I thought they made it work just fine.
agree.
I liked it that he didn't. That how do you?
Yeah. The story of how he
parents
actually
couldn't
got
afford it.
the story of how he actually got the Nintendo is just hand waved away. As oh no, I worked all summer on a golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should have been a Nintendo in the treehouse.
How I actually got the Nintendo isn't even a Christmas story. But
I think
spoiler.
that it's so sweet that his dad, like, he connected with his dad for Christmas.
And the treehouse,
and he would not have connected with him if he'd gotten a Nintendo. He would have just been playing the Nintendo and having all his little, his friends that he really liked, but also the bullshit kids that just wanted to play Nintendo.
Yeah, but he'd still have a Nintendo. He'd still be playing the games.
But
I love that they turned the propriety of the dog poop gag into the kind of the engine for the reveal at the end of the picture. It's like,
That was
oh, don't
cute.
worry about cleaning up behind the shed.
No, it was a very
Of course he
well-made
didn't.
film. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a very well-made
Yeah.
film. It,
No,
it
it was
dotted its
sharply
I's
done.
and crossed its T's.
Yeah.
I think I wanted more Nintendo in it because I am such a Nintendo fanboy, and I kind of expected there to be more of that those nostalgic callbacks. But I guess they only got the rights to Rampage. And
Yeah,
that's,
that was the impression that
Yeah.
I got. I mean, they could talk about
And
some
what
of the
was
rest of it, but they didn't have it.
yeah.
There was a fighting game they played that was totally not an NES game. The NES could not have handled that
Yeah.
game. I don't even know what that game was supposed to be. Well, they got
It
the
was
rights to
fake.
Cabbage Patch Kids apparently. They
Yeah.
nailed the fact that we as kids were forced to sell stuff door to door to get prizes.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
was such.
No, we
was
had
such
to sell it just
absolute
to like be in particular
bullshit.
clubs or like organizations. If you were in band, you sold calendars. The end. Boom.
Goddamn chocolate bars.
Oh, but those were
Popcorn for me.
tasty, and
Yeah.
I would hope
We
that my
sold
mom
nuts.
would buy some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The world's finest chocolate. That shit was the finest. Honestly,
Magazines,
I have not had
nuts.
anything better since.
Boy Scout popcorn is still very good.
Yeah, no, the chocolate bars that I was forced to sell were actually relatively good, but at the same time, the other thing that we had to sell was those discount books. The problem is the discount books were published in January, and we were selling them in fucking September, so they expired in fucking December.
Oh no.
That was bullshit.
I remember those discount books.
Yeah.
They
But
never.
yeah, no, like-
nowadays people just leave that stuff. People bring it their kids' stuff to work and just leave it in the break room and just say, hey, leave $1 if you want a chocolate bar. That's what we still see that all the time.
That's how I
don't-
used
I
to
don't
get
get kids knocking on my door.
That's how I used to get my Girl Scout cookies. Because everybody has their way of getting Girl Scout cookies.
Well,
Yep, we get that at work too.
a lot of my friends send me emails saying my little baby is selling such and such at this website. Go and like sign up and say that my little baby sent
no,
me, and he'll get credit or she'll get credit, and I'm like, "Oh,
You know-
okay,
you know-
fine.
I ain't
I don't
signing up
want
for
your
God-
wrapping paper,
I ain't
but
signing up for a
fine.
goddamn website, not for nothing.
Did you know
Not
that
even for Noel. I mean, come on, it's Noel.
all,
Noelle's like a sister to me.
Yes,
Anyway,
we love Noel.
Aldi actually sells knockoff Girl Scout cookies that are very, very good.
Oh, well, I'm going there tomorrow with Noel,
Just
so we're
a-
going to
just
go
a
get
little-
some.
Just a little tip for our listeners: go to Aldi and get some Girl Scout cookies. They have Samoans and
life
Thin
hack.
Mints.
But of course, none of
Alright.
the money is going to the Girl Scouts, and frankly, the Girl Scouts rock. So
Yeah,
They
it's
do.
true. I like
They
giving
are-
them money.
They are non-religious, girl empowering women, business-minded stuff. I'm telling you, it's Girl Scouts rocks.
And they
Boy
accept
Scouts,
boys.
not so much.
Yeah.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah.
There was never a question. Nobody had to sue anybody.
oh yeah, Girl Scouts
Not
are
like
awesome.
Boy Scouts who are like, you have to accept
Keep
girls.
having troubles.
Yeah.
We need boy spaces. Everybody's gonna get pregnant.
They've got
That's what I heard at
problems.
work. No, I mean it. It's true. That's what I heard at work because they were all into Boy Scouts.
Oh wow.
Anyway, okay.
Back to
So
8-bit
that-
Christmas.
So that,
Epic
so
Christmas.
so
yeah.
this was from the very serviceable, if not terribly profound, director Michael Dowse, whose other work included "Take Me Home Tonight," which was not particularly well shot, but agreeable enough.
I don't even
Goo-
know what that is.
That's where Chris Pratt met Anna Faris apparently.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
also-
movie came out. I think the movie came out 4 years after it was shot or something like that.
It
Yeah.
took a while. It was a Topher Grace vehicle.
oh, okay.
We saw it, right?
I don't
That's why
think
it
we
took
saw
a
it. I
while.
still haven't actually seen it, I don't think. But also directed the same year, or at least released the same year, directed Goon, the single most successful domestic production in the history of the Canadian film industry. And actually a really, really awesome and unbelievably sweet movie about hockey violence.
I liked Goon. I never saw the second one, but I liked the original.
I'm told the second one was rather weak. I don't think Dowse had anything to do with it. Bagoon itself was actually a terrific goddamn movie. So I'm glad that guy's career has continued into the likes of Stuber.
Is
I
that
enjoyed
Sean William Scott
Stuber.
That was Sean William Scott.
Goon,
yeah.
yes.
of
Stifler.
Yeah.
Southland Tales fame?
And Liev Schreiber playing an older hockey goon, which is kind of awesome in its own. No, Goon is a terrific movie. I'm not even being
I need to see this.
Yeah,
great.
like I say, Sean William Scott, Liev Schreiber, Allison Pill in.
I believe it was
I'm
written by
sold.
Jay.
Why are
Jay
we not
Baruchel.
watching this now?
Jay
Oh,
Baruchel,
really?
who actually wrote the screenplay.
Oh,
He wrote
shit.
it, yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
I'm not kidding. It's the most successful domestic production in the history of Canadian cinema. But it's a fantastic, fantastic movie. I still have yet to quite see the sequel just because I am told it is a lot weaker. I haven't quite worked up the nerve. But
I would like to say really quickly, I really liked 8-Bit Christmas, but I think it says something about the film that we keep going off on tangents away from it. It's a perfectly serviceable film, but it's nothing to like cry from the rafters. It's nothing to sing home about.
It's worth seeing, especially if you have the HBO Max subscription that came with your new iPhone. It's which is how
You're
we got
welcome.
that. Thank you. She gets the new iPhone. I deliberately, mind you, get my second smartphone as the one that came for free with the new iPhone. Replacing the one that came for free with the third iPhone.
But see, we're digressing again.
We're digressing
It's a fine film.
It is a fine film. It is nothing
Spoiler
too
alert.
terribly monumental.
The kid does not get it, the Nintendo, but he does get his father for the short time that his father has left. So, I say short, I mean,
it does actually have some pretty expertly executed, not exactly heist scenes, but sort of man with a plan scenes.
I like that. The SpaghettiOs and all that. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, God, the Stand By Me style vomiting. That's what that made me think of.
The kid's SpaghettiO vomiting was freaking great. And the incidental kid characters were actually pretty great as well.
Yeah.
I also actually rather like the score. I kept thinking, this sounds like Dark Angel by VNV Nation. Jane pretty strenuously suggested everything during that time sounded like that.
Yes.
I was like, no, that specifically, but in any event. But it had a certain throb and propulsiveness to it that definitely complemented the action scenes in any case.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sharply done picture.
I
go
do
ahead,
like the
Shane.
fact that it kind of mocks like the never-ending argument about violence in video games. It just doesn't seem to go away, despite the fact that there's no evidence that has any contribution to real violence. I kind of like that they, just sort of mock that argument in a way where in the movie it literally has nothing to do with video games. What they're trying to argue, which I think is
that's true.
And at the same
great.
time, if you remember that period, it's a completely credible overreaction on the part of the authority figures.
And of course, if you're
exactly
thinking of A Christmas Story, you'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
No, this followed A Christmas Story structurally pretty closely.
Yeah, no, this movie is absolutely, especially given the epic shade that this finally gives the Power Glove. This feels like the bastard child of A Christmas Story and The Wizard, the film that we watched for the first half of this episode.
Tangentially
and by the way,
related.
Chinese crested dogs are super expensive. So, or at least they were back then. They were like a new breed, I believe, to the AKC around that time. Because I worked for a dog magazine around that time. So.
I was so afraid the Power Glove was actually going to work. Like,
this sucks.
It was so satisfying.
It really was.
I think I yelled at the screen, "Oh, that's it. That sucks."
So this is.
I never even had one, and I knew that it sucked.
This is Nintendo signing off on product placement because they understand the nature and structure of the skeletons in their closet and are okay with them.
See, I wonder if they did sign off because they got so little rights to anything Nintendo related. I tend to wonder if they only used what they could legally.
You give shade on the Power Glove, you get Rampage.
Hey, I actually have a question. Maybe Shane or Nate could answer. So, the voice of the talking Nintendo machine, did that sound familiar? Because I looked at the credits, I saw nothing. He sounded super
I don't,
familiar.
No, I didn't notice
no, I don't
anything.
think so.
I don't know what it was about it, but I'm just sure it was somebody important
I'd have to
or
go back and listen. I didn't pay attention too much to it, to what the voice was sounding like. It just sounded like a gruff voice
But
to
those,
me.
yeah, but those Nintendo displays in stores were bewitching. I think it
Oh
was
yeah.
more.
Yes.
There was more of that in the there's more of that in the SNES era, I think.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where we had to go to the store every time. I'd have to go to that display because I didn't have one at home and play it, and it just made me want it more and more. And this movie like nails just how much you really want it when you're that age.
And
yeah, but you know, Walmart and GameStop have those for the Switch and the Wii, and I know you see kids lined up there. Not so much anymore. I think everybody's got one that wants one, but
yeah, no,
for a while there.
I had a long console or just gaming in general gulf, because we first got that TI 99 4A in 1982, and did not finally decommission it until Bob, bless him, went out and got a Pentium 90 tower in 1996. uh, and that was and somewhere in there he got an SNES, and that was awesome. And somewhere in there he got a Sega Saturn and a PlayStation, and those were awesome. He still has that Saturn. It still works. My older brother is the Last Angry Saturn fan.
No,
but
not. I've got a Saturn. I love that thing. That's a great console,
it was
especially
a
for
great
fighting
console.
games.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was minimal. There was like Dico Poquito released for it, but
Yeah.
that's because Sega never had any actual faith in their hardware.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think my stepson had one of those.
Eh,
I think
We're
he-
all at the same time. We're all freaking nerds, so of course we still have Saturns or Saturns in our immediate proximity. But
Once again, we're not talking about the movie.
we're
Yeah.
again, like I said,
Dana's really got a point about that. That
no,
is
no,
the
that's
truth.
it's absolutely a fair point. It is nothing too terribly monumental. It's fine. It's just fine. Go see it.
Yeah.
It was perfect to watch after Thanksgiving dinner with my family. Like
It was.
and then-
Yeah.
It's a supremely
That's it.
agreeable experience, especially if you're of the gamer generation. Not
Yeah,
a whole lot to
yeah,
say
me and
about it. I mean, we've gone on about it for a half an hour, but we've also at the same time gone out about things that it made us think of for a half an hour. But realistically, a nostalgia-based movie is supposed to get you thinking about the ways that your own experiences relate to that sort of thing. So ultimately, that may be feature rather than bug in the picture. I might be reaching there. I might be
No,
reaching
actually,
a lot.
I'm gonna get behind you on that one. I actually agree with that. We're in a nostalgic mood now that we just saw a nostalgic movie.
Yeah, and we're talking about nostalgic things. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Though the film itself was not really about Nintendo, as it turns out.
Well, it was about wanting Nintendo,
Yeah.
which is fundamentally a different
Yeah.
experience from Nintendo.
Right.
And that part, they really nailed. I thought
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
the whole journey, like the
It's,
feeling of looking
it-
under
it-
the Christmas tree and knowing that what you want is not there just by the box size, stuff like that. They really nailed all that.
Yeah,
Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
that was a wonderfully observed detail.
That's what made me so depressed at the end of the thing that he didn't get it, because it's like that's everything that was building up to, and to be so let down on Christmas Day is just that's painful. I
he
can
though?
feel that.
Was he though? I mean,
I guess he
that-
wasn't once he saw his tree house.
Oh, and his dad made it for him, and they worked together.
And it was an
later on other
awesome
things.
treehouse.
It was an awesome tree.
It helped him connect with his dad, not become a popular kid. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with
But
that.
at the same time, it was
I-
the roost for his friends, so that's a good thing. It's about the social dynamic in grade school as well.
I think
He
it's
eventually got one.
I think it's just hard for me to relate to a good father.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what?
That's true. He did seem like kind of a not very present father for a while there. I mean, he just kind of felt like he didn't really connect with his kid, but then they did connect so hard at the end, and it was so sweet, especially knowing that he had passed away, sometime between.
That gave us all an
Yeah.
when we were watching it. I'm
And
sure.
you know what? So I had a Nintendo, but I tried and failed multiple times to build a treehouse with my friends. And so he got a treehouse. I'm like, yes. So
Attainable
that didn't hurt so much
goals.
that he didn't get a Nintendo, but he got his treehouse. And a
Grass
fucking
is
amazing
grass
treehouse.
is always greener, cousins.
All right. Well, does anybody have any final thoughts on 8-Bit Christmas?
I liked it very much, even though I wasn't.
Watch it with
I
your
didn't have
family.
I didn't have an NES at that time.
It will make you happy, or something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a good place to close on. That's going to do it for us here on What's on the Pile. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at What's on the Pile, or you can visit our website, whatsonthepile.com. Thanks for hanging out.